takes over. When you do exactly what you're told, it feels uncomfortable. We should know if it feels uncomfortable, it's probably really good. We're making a good move. It'll only feel uncomfortable for a relatively short period of time, and then it's part of us. And so that's the way we are. Like, just look at the way you're thinking about earning money now, relative to 3 or 4 years ago when we first met. Your whole perception has changed. Like Wayne was right, Wayne Dyer. He said when you change the way you look at something, what you look at will change. Well, what we're talking about here is perception. And we've all got that as a higher faculty. And what we want to do is shift our perception, change what we're looking at. And let's quit making these things difficult. Nothing's big or small, except our thinking makes it so. Nothing's good or bad, except our thinking makes it so. Everything is. A real theologian will tell you God is. The scientist will tell you energy is neither created nor destroyed, is the cause and effect of itself, is 100% evenly present in all places at the same time. Is all powerful, is all knowing. Well, that's us. And what we've got to do is learn how to express this, how to utilize this power. And we're not doing that. We're working at it, and we're doing better than we were, but we're not doing as good as we can. And I think what we really want to do is stretch. See, the beautiful part about what happened down there with that young lady today, what she did changed a number of people in the audience. There's no question about it, just like that. There were paradigms shifted. That's some good she put out. The universe is going to give her that back. All the good that she impacted, whatever number of people it was, the universe is going to send that all back to her. So, when we think of what we're doing, let's keep in mind we're working with absolute law. And what you put out will come back. It must. That's the law. I mean, it's not a matter of choices. Nobody's going to make a decision on it. That is the way it is. If we let this chair fall, it's going to go down. We know that. And we cannot suspend it in air, because that would violate the law of the earth, the law of the land. The law of gravity decrees, and heavier than air is attracted towards the center of the earth. Well, that's a law of the world. We're dealing with universal laws. These are God-made, man-made. Man's not going to change them. Yeah.
Well, based on this, yesterday we were discussing massive ideas, and one of them is to really have a collective goal. And Scott and I were thinking, what if by next training, every single one of us is enrolling 1,000 people? So as a group, we're enrolling 15,000 people by next training.
I think that's a great idea, and everybody's capable of doing 1,000 people. You know, it'll be interesting to see what the person's going to do to win this little contest I put on until tomorrow night. How many will be sold? There's going to be a lot sold. No question about it. And we've got to challenge ourselves like that. Like right now, I have got so many things going on. I think most people my age are sitting, I don't know, on a dock somewhere, fishing for minnows. I've got to finish a program like similar to Thinking End Results. I've only got 3 videos done. I've got to do 4 more. I've got to get the book finished. And that has to be delivered on the 4th of October, which seems like tomorrow. I've got to go to California to speak on Thursday. I got to get there and get back. I've got to go. Where the hell am I going? I'm going somewhere else. Well, I've got to go to Vegas and do this convention, and then I got to get down to LA to do the Thinking End Results. I mean, I've just got so many projects going like right now. If I focus on beyond today, I'm screwed, you know, because it's overwhelming. So I just focus on what I'm doing today. And today, I'm here to work with you this morning. And this afternoon, I'll be back in the studio doing some work there. That you cannot look beyond where you are. That's where people get wrong. So what can I do today? See, every person in this room should sell something today. Now, how much you're going to sell, I would imagine you sell every day.
Most, yeah.
I've walked by you a couple of times since I've been here, and you're holding a phone up talking to somebody, and you weren't visiting.
Mm-mm.
You know? Well, I didn't see a whole lot of people doing that, but I saw you do it. I saw you do it 3 different times. And I wasn't trying to follow you around. I just happened to walk past you. I just happened to walk past you. See that. So, there's a young guy just started to sell with us, and he made a sale yesterday morning. And he sent me a text and he says, I'm going to get another one this week. I sent one back and said, what the hell are you talking about this week? You get another one today. But you see, he'd give himself all week. But if you give yourself all week, you're going to take all week to do whatever you want to do. That's where Northbrook Parkinson said, work expands to fill the time allotted for it. So I think what you want to do is tighten it up. I believe every one of you next time can come in here and get a diamond pen. I do. There's no reason why everybody can't get a diamond pen. I don't even know what you have to do. What do they have to do to win a diamond?
300.
Huh?
300 client activations in a 12.
Well, Mark just said something here. He said we should set a group goal where everybody does 1,000 between now and the next meeting.
I love that.
Well, yeah, I do too, but here's the point. Most people won't even think of doing that. And so if they're not going to think it, they know damn well they're not going to do it. You know, somebody's not going to say, do 1,000. You know, it's whatever we think. And stop and ask yourself, what happens, what am I doing when I think? There's a power flowing to and through us. And as it comes into our consciousness, it has no form. None. We give it form. And whatever you think, that's the form you're giving it. Now, if you think 1,000, if that's what you're thinking, and then every time 2 or more of you get together, that should be the brainstorm. That should be what you're brainstorming. And you can do it.
So, Bob, my question is so last training I was 100%, I'm going to have a diamond pin by this training. And to get that was 180 activations. So based on everything we're saying, you know, I'm thinking of that, I'm brainstorming around that, and I can honestly say I did everything that I was consciously aware to do. Now, do I beat myself up? No, that I didn't get it. I did 80 or something, so I'm down to near the 100. So my question is it that it's the law of gender and I just got the date wrong, or is it that my belief wasn't strong?
I don't think your belief is strong enough.
Okay. So
You see, what we've really got to be careful.
Yeah.
I had a message on my phone. I'm going to read it to you. I'm not telling you who it's from, but you don't even know the person anyway. But this is somebody I was talking to, and I told him I'd talk to him later. He says, I am still really sick, so I won't be talking to you today. I am still really sick. I said, look at what you just wrote and rewrite it. I am so happy and grateful now that every fiber of my being is in perfect harmony with God's laws. You know, he's going to kick himself in the ass for saying that to me. He is. But still, it's done him a favor. We've got to be...
Can you repeat that, please, Bob?
I am so happy and grateful now that every fiber of my being is in perfect harmony with God's laws. what we want to be acutely aware of is that the paradigm is active, it's alive, it's working all the time. All the time. And everything we go to do, the paradigm wants to take over. How many of you know a person that's really a control freak?
Apart from myself.
Well, I'm going to tell you, that person's got nothing on your paradigm. The paradigm is a control freak. The paradigm hates letting go of control. In fact, the paradigm will not let go. You've got to take it away. And the only way you can take it away is by giving energy to its opposite. Make sense, guys? How many of you entertain doubt or worry about what you're doing? But you've got to understand, the second you're doubting, you're inviting that. That's what you're inviting. We've got to remember this thing is a dumb terminal. It'll only do what it's told to do, and that's the result it'll produce. There's power flowing in, and as it flows in, it just is. It has no form. We are giving it form in everything we think. And if you're not thinking what you want, you're going to get what you don't want. It's that simple. Now, what you're really involved with and you impress upon the heart, that then is in every molecule of this part of your hair. I came across a little stick person book. It's about that wide, that high. It was so old, it had an address that I used when we first moved back to Toronto in 1980. And I came across it. Actually, my wife came across it. And Gene and I were working the other day. I said, Gene, we should get these made. They're going to be here by noon. So you're going to have one. You want to get these duplicated, but make sure you duplicate them the same way as they are, because they're very effective. Now, the definition of the conscious, the subconscious, and everything is in there. And Gina said, how did you come up with this? I had about 8 people working with me in 1973 when I first I was going to build the company all over the world. And I had about 8 people with me at this one time. I got them all to write out a condensed definition of subconscious, conscious, body, everything. And I took all 8 of them and I went away to my mother's cottage, about 100 and some miles from here. And I stayed there all weekend and I took these 8 and I wintered it down to one definition, and that's what's in the book. It's really a good definition of each part. And it's something you can get to a layperson already. You can sit down with this and you can go through it. I would see it as a phenomenal sales tool. Yeah. It's really good. It'll be really good for that. This is so misunderstood by almost everybody. And we think we understand it. The truth is, if we did understand it, everybody would already have a diamond pin. Mm-hmm. You see, there's no reason why everybody doesn't have one. The reason we don't have one is because the paradigm's in control. The only reason one person's earning more than another is because they've taken more control over the paradigm than the other. We're all operating with the same potential. There's nobody has anything less. Now, the real good part of this is that there's so many of us work together. You're in a phenomenal environment here. I was watching everybody come into the room, and I thought, God, if they only knew how fortunate they are working with so many people that are all tuned into this stuff. And now there's some of them that are not very good at thinking it or doing it or anything, but they all want to. Everybody wants to. Everybody's made a pretty big commitment. And the energy on the environment, the energy in the room is just so good. And you must notice that as the week goes on, it keeps getting better. Well, you can go on alone, but you're still a part of this big group. Well, you'll go on back to your home and you're not with the big group, but you're still part of that big group. There's a quote by P.G. Hemerton, I've forgotten how it goes now. We're part of society, we ought to belong to society, but yet capable of an individual existence outside of it. We want to be able to, I think he refers to ship of war. When I was a kid, it was during the Second World War, they would have newsreels and they would have great convoys of ships crossing the Atlantic together. And that was to give them strength because, a sub wouldn't attack the whole convoy. They were looking for one ship that's by themselves that they would attack. And so they'd have these convoys and all these ships, great armada of ships, frigates and destroyers and carriers and everything. But every one of them are capable of going alone to the solitude of the infinite sea. We ought to belong to society, partakers of society, and yet be capable of going alone to the solitude of the infinite sea. Well, that's what we are. When we go home, we're going to the solitude of the infinite sea. We're going off by ourselves. But yet we're still part of this society, this group. And so you can draw on the energy of the group, even though you may be off on the Gold Coast by yourself, you can still draw on the energy of the group because you